The final episode of Tempo just aired, and yeah, let's talk about it. If you've not watched my previous review about this drama, I follow it week to week and I talk about each episode and what is happening and how much, I love it so much. So check out my previous reviews if you've not already. Last week we ended with the boys planning how they will basically break Tame out of the prison that has held him hostage since their last interview. And this is the final efforts, right, to make their group one again, right, after we've kind of seen Tame be the one to try from the very beginning up to this point, right? So this is kind of like the climax of the show, and it's good to see how the boys Mars can come together and kind of walk towards this, right? I love their planning stage. I love how they all sat down and they thought through how they're gonna get this done, and I love the execution of it. They all recognize how much Tim has done for them to that point, and so they are willing to fight for him this time around. And of course, Poe is going to be there right along with them, right? And so this is kind of the culmination of all that has happened in the previous episodes and how they kind of walk towards being one again, right? Which has been the goal of this drama the whole time. It's the premise of this show, right? And so we get to the final concert where, after this is where Mars is gonna like go their own separate ways, and you have Tame going to Korea, right? And so this is supposed to be their kind of like farewell to their fans, and it's a lot of preparations that's gone into it. Pemika is there to watch right from the stage or like the media room, and so every eyes is on them, all eyes is on them, and nothing can go wrong. But our boys have already planned with the help of Mick. Which, I mean, I'll talk about this at the end. I am surprised he didn't get fired, honestly. I could not really understand that part. But, they work at it and they're able to kind of like get to Tame, right? And they're able to like make mention in public that they actually don't want to like break up, which is key in this kind of world, right? How the members and the company like markets certain things is important, because that kind of tells the fan, oh, okay, like my idol is okay with this, right? And given that they came out and they're like, no, we don't want him to go, he's not going anywhere, right? It kind of shows that actually the company is kind of forcing them to do this, which kind of is bad publicity for the company, right? So to an extent, I can see why they went the like hijack route and just took over, right? So that's kind of what happens. They take over and they're able to kind of like mention the fact that they want him to stay, and that's when Paul, who has obviously been designated as the one to actually lead Tame to safety and away from the clutches of Pemika and Pemika's gang, that's when they are able to meet. And I love that scene where they're under the stage and Paul walks up and Tame sees him, right? I guess for him it's the first time in a few weeks or months that he has kind of not seen Paul, and he was kind of like just stunned and almost like not really believing that Paul was in front of him, right? So he asks like, are you really Paul? Like, and Paul is like looking at him like, of course it's me, like who else would it be, right? But Tame knows what he's gone through without Paul, and you kind of see in that moment how much he's missed him, right? And I love that, right? One thing I also liked about the ending was how Byfern was able to come to the conclusion that a lot of us have been talking about, and how like your idols are not happy when you kind of control them, right? It's not about your happiness, it's about the idols and what they want to do. You don't own these people, right? They give you happiness, and yeah, to an extent you are the ones that buy their merch and stuff like that, but you do not own these people, right? Like they are giving you something back in return, and that should be enough. You shouldn't be trying to like get more. You shouldn't want them to like be lonely and like never date. Like that is kind of insane, right? And she comes to that conclusion seeing Pepper, because Pepper is like biased, right? And she has that moment. She's like, "Oh, actually, what I did was not really nice," and she comes to that, and I like seeing character development like that. That's kind of what I like to see, as opposed to I feel like Pemika, they just kind of like let everything be okay, even though she'd been a problem for them this whole time. Like, why did she suddenly relent? Right? She had not relented this all like past 12 episodes. Why now, right? So it's a lot like this is the last episode, so you have to like make it look nice, right? But still I liked it, I didn't mind it, right? I really like how Paul reconciled with him as well, and him asking for forgiveness and asking Tame that like, oh, I'm sorry for what I did. I shouldn't have broken up with you like that. And Tame is a lovesick idiot, and he's like, it's fine, whatever. I like that scene as well, how they are able to make up. Um, but just to go back again to my this is unrealistic kind of thing. Um, Again, we see how like Pepper at the end of that showcase that they did, right? Again, I don't know what has changed. I guess to an extent the idea is that like Mars is now like they don't care if you want to follow them, you follow them. If you are the kind that you care about your idol's image, them not dating, you cannot follow someone like a group like Mars. I guess that's the idea, that they are given some creative freedom over what they can do now, right? And again, to an extent it's just like I don't know how much I believe in that. But that is still fine. That is still like, okay, that makes a little sense. Tame and Poe is even um more unrealistic in the sense of like Poe introducing him as his boyfriend in like his friend group, right? That is even more unrealistic. But again, I loved it anyways, right? That's just the thing. I loved it anyways, and I like how I don't know if I like it, but I find it interesting how this show and just Thai BLs in general have a kind of world where being gay is just the norm, so there isn't any real stigma to it. And so when people are saying, "Oh, this is my boyfriend," yeah, I mean, people overreact as they always do. But to an extent, it's almost like this is expected, right? Which I wouldn't say that's probably the case in real life. But this might just be me not knowing how advanced and how welcoming Thailand is, But generally, if an idol says they're dating a guy and it's becoming a well-known thing, people start to talk, right? But again, I just like how they kind of like don't make that a big deal, right? It's really about Tame and Poe and their love, and they kind of don't bring that struggle into it, which is, I guess, the point of BL as opposed to like queer media. But yeah, it's interesting to see that here as well. So yeah, I just liked this drama for a bunch of other reasons too. I have to say too, just like give William and S the flowers they deserve. Because they deserve a lot of flowers. I don't think I have seen a duo that is as impressive as this two. I've been watching BL for a while now, not a long while, but just like a year or two now, right? And if there's one thing about me, when I start watching something, when I get into something, I get attached. I kind of get obsessed, right? And so I will binge everything that there is to know and, study about that thing. So that's kind of the same with BL. I've watched a lot of BL. Like, even though I come here and I talk about like one or two every few months, I watch so many and go through so many because I over consume stuff, right? So one thing I will say is that like, I can kind of recognize the pattern that like GMMTV and all these other companies kind of follow, right? And so seeing William and S be this good at what they do is kind of amazing, right? Particularly William, because I feel like this is the first time he's like acting. S has acted a few times before, but for William, this is really the first time. But they do their job here. They act so well that I am in awe of them, and I've come to become fans of them because they are really dedicated to their craft, right? One thing that really stuck the landing for me was the last scene where they're like making out on the couch, and honestly, when they were making out, I was like, I shouldn't be seeing this, right? That's how good it was. Like, that's how intimate they made it seem. It wasn't particularly sexual. I mean, it was sexual, but like not in the way that like I feel like BLs are very explicit. This wasn't an explicit scene. It was just a kiss, but still they made it so like like they kind of make you want to curl up your like fingers and toes, right? It's that kind where I've probably watched tons of like explicit BL scenes and it doesn't hit as well. They're able to kind of give you something small, but like it's to the point where you're like trying to shy away from watching this to kiss, right? And so props to them. I really really like their chemistry. Is very well done. And again, just to give props to the rest of LYKN, because they are cast as Mars in this. They are fantastic. The synergy they have is beautiful. I love it very very much, and I hope this group stays for a long time. They are all very charismatic in their own way, and I love to see that in a group, right? I do know that to an extent Tempo was to kind of also showcase LYKN and get them to people's eyes, and get people to recognize these people, and basically a publicity stunt for them, right? And I think it worked because even I also like them now. So I think that this was just a really, really good show. I don't know if it was created for them, because that's how we would sing. Because I mean, the elements of having Mars and having a singer, and that kind of thing is very like liking that. I would not be surprised if they made it for them, but if they didn't, then it's a huge coincidence that an actual band is the one that is featured in this, right? But yeah, I love this show. I love how realistic it's been so far. The elements where they are criticizing the industry, and kind of showcasing kind of what goes on, and I love seeing that, because again, these are the people that do the behind the scenes for all those companies, so they know what they're talking about. And so I've really, really enjoyed it. And just generally, this has been a well produced, well written show in a way that I feel like this doesn't come very often, right? For the most part, a lot of Thai bills are not up to standard for me, that I will not watch a lot of them because they struggle in one way. And I've mentioned this in my previous reviews. But Tempo, I think, is one of the better like shows out there. And I think again, this has to do with like the different production companies that they have. I think the production company that made this one, right, it just has skill. Right, they have a good director that wants to do this, that has that vision and can back it up. I don't know, maybe she went to school for this, probably, but honestly, she's fantastic at this, right? You can also kind of tell it's a girl that like directed this, right? You can kind of just, it has a feminine touch to it, that like it's innocent in the way they act, that you kind of know that it's a female like director, or a writer that did this. So I applaud this so much. I really like it. I don't think it could have been any better. I don't think I will probably watch a video that's better than this year. And I don't know. Like I'm actually really sad that this is ending, because I don't know. I just it's been so good. Every single thing has been tied up in a neat bow. Every single little plot has been covered, right? And so I really like this. When I compare episode 1 to episode 13, like seeing their journey is like, it's so beautiful, it's so lovely. And I it's like I want to keep rooting for them. I want us to keep like just existing somewhere, even though obviously the show is ended and this is not a real thing. But like in my mind, I'm like, these people are real and they're amazing. Like Tame Ample, just like they brighten the world, right? Like I love it so much. So yeah, I have had so much fun with this drama. I don't do a lot of like week to week reviews of dramas, but I had to do for this one because it is just that good, and I loved it very, very much. It comes up in my top 5 BLs of all time, if not dramas of all time. It has been a huge entertaining show, and I thank the director, I thank the writer, I thank the whole crew, I thank the actors for like putting in the effort to make this what it was. I like when as an audience I am kind of like considered, and like it's like they treat the audience like they actually value their eyes and value like their mind, and like what they are watching. The person that made this show like wants to do something and wants to like showcase, and they did, and it was fantastic, and I loved watching it. So I applaud everybody involved with this work. It's been so great, and honestly, A+. This is a 10/10 for me. It doesn't get better than this, I think. And I don't know when GMM will make another one that's this good, because they hit or miss with them. So yeah, I love it so much. And yeah, that's really all I have to say. It has been a journey, and I am thankful that you guys stuck around and are enjoying this as much as I have. But yeah, I will end it here. Thank you guys so much for listening to this episode. Sad to say goodbye to Temple, but here we are. But yeah, I will talk to you guys again next week. Have a lovely one. Bye.